used them. I tried them last year. Caught a couple fish on. Definitely work.
Okay. Like it's just odd to me that we're going after these big fish, these Great Lakes fish, and we're using such small baits compared to like St. Clair, which are also Great Lakes fish, but you're using pounders and catching just as many fish. Is that even though they have a pretty good perch population in St. Clair, is that forage based? Is that pressure based?
Yeah, it's mainly forage bait. It's mainly forage bait, and what we have the last like 5 years, we've had big booms of little shad. So a lot of, you'll see a lot of like 3 to 5 inch shad, you know, and that's what they're eating on. So what we're basically doing is just matching what we're seeing on the bay for the size of the shad.
So,
In areas that the muskies are. And we've got a lot of real little perch too in Green Bay right now. Our perch population seems to be bouncing back right now, but a lot of, 4 to 6 inch fish in there. So just kept trying to match the size of the bait that we're seeing.
so are you matching primarily size and just varying with the color?
Correct, yep.
Okay.
Yep, match the size. For some reason, your perch and your fire tiger patterns when we're trolling seem to be definitely dominant over, versus like your black and silver, which would match your shads.
Yeah.
So, it definitely tells me that they're eating probably a lot of those little perch.
Okay. Now, casting the bait. Is it you find weeds, you find a fish? Is that the name of the game? Like,
Yeah, well, it's not just weeds; it's finding the right weeds. So, I mean, cabbage is definitely your dominant weed on Green Bay that the muskies like. So it's pretty critical that you find the cabbage beds. So we have a lot of milfoil and other kind of weeds on Green Bay, but definitely the cabbage is king on Green Bay, and that's where most of the muskies are going to be.
and then so once we start to transition, I mean, my buddies were up there. They were saying the river temperatures were almost into the 70s. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, they were on Saturday. They were actually right around like 65 degrees on opening day.
Okay.
But like today, they're up to 72 degrees. So
Oh wow.
quite a bit of change in the temperature in the last few days. So there's going to be a lot of fish starting to bug out of the river now.
And so once they start doing that, do they just disperse to the weeds and follow the forage and stuff inside of the bay? Correct.
No, they don't go to the weeds right away. What they'll do is they'll go to a lot of the shallow sandbars, and they'll feed, and they like the real shallow sandbars, like 3 to 5 foot, and they'll stage up on there for typically a week, 2 weeks, and once your weed meal starts getting a little bit higher, then they'll start dispersing to the weeds.
Okay. And then
We also have a lot of fish that will actually go deeper too and suspend, and they're just chasing pods of bait. So like late June and July, whatever, there's quite a few fish that go out to that
okay.
range, out in the mud.
Yeah.
And we get big blooms of shad that hit that area in July. So a lot of those fish are out there just chasing shad.
Oh, that ain't too bad. Now, when you're out there casting bucktails, plastics, glides, do you have a preference or towards that? Like if someone was just going,
everything to throw are bulldogs, like the Meg dog in Green Bay, and then bucktails. 8s, 9s, and 10s, and use them all.
okay. So do you you kind of search with the bucktails, maybe go back later? I mean, I know you know that bay like the back of your hand, but someone exploring that spot or going out there for the first time, should we kind of search for fish and then go back with some dogs and pick it apart a little more, or what do you think?
Well, typically what I do, if I got 2 customers on the boat, I'll start my day one's throwing a dog and one's throwing a blade. And we'll see what starts moving fish, and then we'll switch over some days. But I've noticed a lot of times in the cold front days, the dogs will definitely work better, throwing rubber. And on your regular days, and a lot more action on the blades. So.
Okay. Now, talking about the whole entire bay, I'm just going to pull up Green Bay on Google Maps right quick. I heard this I was actually at a family party this past weekend, and Have you ever fished beta knock for muskies? Or little beta?
I have not.
No? Do you know?
I have not. And I know they're up there. I've talked to people that caught them up there.
Yeah. So they're in that whole entire stretch of the bay. They're not just by Green Bay.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen them. I do a lot of bass fishing this time of year up in we're up in Sister Bay today, Fish Creek, Eastland. I'll see quite a few fish up that way also. That is not as big as numbers is done, in the lower bay and in the Student Bay area, but there are fish spread out all the way, up to Washington Island, and then I fished east shore all the way up to Marionette, so there's quite a few fish up in that area also. And I've been seeing the last 2 years, I've been seeing a lot more fish right in the Sturgeon Bay area. In the Shipping Channel, and then Riley's Bay and Little Sturgeon Bay had a tremendous amount of fishing this spring. We actually, one of my customers were bass fishing the week before our musky season opener, and using hair jigs. And actually, Luke Ronis that tied your hair jigs that we're using for bass. And one of my customers brought a 54.5-inch musky on a hair jig right in Little Sturgeon Bay. So it's quite a few fish in there.
Now, do you have any speculation of why they're transitioning farther north into that bay for any reason?
Well, they've been stocking. I've been stocking those bays up there for the last 15 years, pretty heavy with musky. So those fish are finally getting up to age, and there's always been muskies up there, but the stocking program, they hit that area pretty hard the last 15 years. So those fish are finally growing up, and we're seeing quite a few more fish up in that area now.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not exactly 100% familiar with the whole entire Green Bay area. I mean, a little bit of Marinette, but that's the biggest reason I wanted to get you on this show is that I needed a Green Bay expert to answer some questions and, maybe some of the questions from the audience. Now, with this whole, it's pretty much post-spawn right now for the muskies, correct, up there?
No, there's still, one of the guys that works for me got a 48-incher this morning in the fox that was still dumping eggs, so you still got fish that, are in the spawning mode. I mean, he saw 3 different pairs paired up, and the one he caught still had eggs in, so it's still in the mode. But with these warming temperatures now, I mean, everything's in motion right now, and so you're going to have fish, already sliding out that were spawning last week. And you got different waves of fish that come in too. There's 3 different waves of fish that come in for spawning.
Okay.
Just like, when you get a walleye spawn, not everything comes in the same, couple day period. So
now there's obviously, the Fox River, we got the Oconto, the Menominee, and the Peshtigo, and probably some other smaller rivers that I'm not familiar with, but each one of those do have a musky spawn run and post-spawn, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so you could...
Correct.
They may not be as big as the Fox, correct? But they are still there.
The fish may not... Oh, as far as the numbers?
Yeah, number-wise.
Or the size? Yeah.
Number-wise.
Yeah, if you're going to Wisconsin DNR website, you can see the numbers of the stock.
Okay.
So definitely the Fox has been number one for the amount of fish, that were stocked, but there's been a really good amount in all the other rivers also, and you got to remember they're quite a bit smaller than the Fox, so, your fish per square acre is probably going to be about the same as in the Fox when you look at the numbers.
Okay. That's pretty cool. Because you don't hear... You do, but I believe that the Fox and, that whole stretch for the musky run, same with the walleye run, that's the king. So I was just kind of interested about that. Now, how about outside of Green Bay, the Bay of Green Bay, and into the main lake basin of Lake Michigan? Like around Washington Island, like maybe the eastern side of Washington Island, or, North Bay, Raleigh's Bay, Bailey's Harbor. Muskie's still prevalent over there, correct?
There are, but they're far and few between. I fish Raleigh's Bay and North Bay and Moonlight Bay a lot for bass on the lakeside. And in my last, 10 years of fishing over there, I saw one muskie over there. There's a lot of pike, but I don't see much for muskie in those areas.
Okay.
Very, very little weed growth, so they don't have much for weeds. And I just don't think they have the bait that they like over there. The whitefish are out really deep in those areas, and pretty much the only shallow bait fish you have is gobies and crayfish and stuff like that. So
and that's not really,
unless you get a big blow, then you get some bait blown in, some alewife and stuff. But I just don't think that they have the bait in those areas that they like.
okay. Now, I was just curious as to, if they're out there. I'm not sure. Now maybe you can answer me this. So that kind of ties into the next question of, I'm from the Milwaukee area, and do you think that's also why a reason we don't see too many muskies down here in the Milwaukee area? I mean, obviously because they stock it, but...
Yeah, it's just I think it's mainly just bait for it. They don't have what they like in those areas. So you get a straggler here and there, and like 6-7 years ago, there was a guy that caught one right off the Milwaukee Harbor, right off the pier.
Yep.
So
that was pretty cool. Now with the Fox River and what was I going to say now? The whole muskie thing is. Do they live in there year round? Now I know not all of them do, but I was up there ice fishing.
Yeah,
and I did see one in there in winter.
There's a lot of fish in the winter in the Fox. The ice fishermen that are ice fishing the Fox will catch them. I've actually caught them through the ice there, jigging walleyes. So that is a big wintering area. And there is a population that'll stand there all summer. I don't target it a lot during the summer, but I know people that do fish it, and they do catch fish all summer long out of the Fox.
And that's another, summertime time of the year. You go to the drop off maybe. Transition a little bit.
Yeah, the deeper water. That's what they target during the summer. You got tons and tons of bait in there.
Yeah.
There's catfish, bullheads. I mean, all the stuff that muskies love to eat are in there all summer long. So they've got everything they want. Including deep water. There's a lot of areas that are 30, 35 foot. So they got plenty of deep water access.
Okay. Now, when fall starts to come around, with the Cisco's and stuff like that, tend to go a little more shallower, for their spawning and everything. Then if you're fishing the river, you would transition into the shallower flats, probably, some of the rock bars.
We fish during the fall. We fish a lot of 4 to 12 foot range. We don't have a Cisco that come down there, but we got a lot of whitefish in the fall. Whitefish spawn at 42 degrees.
Okay.
So you get a lot of fish that come in the areas that the whitefish are spawning. But it's mainly, we get a huge push of shad that come down the lower bay and into the Fox River in the fall. And I think that's the big push that all the muskies are just chasing those shad in. When they're coming in, that's the main thing that they're feeding on, I believe.
Okay. So kind of a year synopsis of muskie fishing in the Green Bay area and Fox River area is springtime, go hit the shallow rivers, okay, with double sixes, some of your single blades. Summertime, like you said, transition out to the bay, maybe go a little deeper in the river, some of the mud flats and the cabbage, not the milfoil. And fall, wait for the shad and the whitefish, and kind of base those off that. And you tend.
Yep, I'll fish the weeds all the way until the weeds start to die off, and as soon as you see those weeds starting to turn brown, then you start. Those muskies are definitely on the move, and they're going to be rolling up into that lower part of Green Bay, and we call it University Bay area, and then the Fox River. A lot of people don't fish it, but the Menominee River pulls in a lot of fish in the fall also.
Okay.
The Ocano area has been very good, and there's a lot less pressure over in the Ocano area. Tons of cabbage weed beds over in that area. So that's a great, if you want to get away from people, that's a great area to go and explore and find some cabbage beds over there.
Okay. Now, like I said earlier, I have a little bit of a smaller boat, just a 16-foot modified V, nothing fancy. But with the wind out there, How big of a factor does a wind play out there for you, and especially smaller people in smaller boats out on the bay?
Well, what's nice about Green Bay is you got, your east and your west shore, so you can always watch the winds. And, as long as you take a look at the winds the day before, what they're supposed to be, you can play the winds to your favor and fish, the east or west shore. So I see a lot of guys in 16, 18-foot boats out there, but you got to pick your days. You get a north blow, and I have a hard time in my 21-foot Rangers. So it's all whatever Mother Nature throws at you.
So pay attention to the wind, definitely.
If you got to pick north blow too, you might as well pick somewhere else to go because most of the time don't like it.
Okay.
So it pushes all the cold water down, and
okay.
you get a 20, 25 mile an hour north blow, and it'll shut it down for 3 days. So.
Okay. Now with that, blowing the colder water down, do you do it obviously from, the Marinette River, the Menominee River, down to the Fox River? That's a pretty sizable gap of distance. Is there a water temperature difference from that far in the main lake?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. I mean, you can have from Marinette down to, say, Swamico area, you can have a 10-degree swing in temperature.
Oh, wow.
Marinette, you're right up next to the cold, deep water. That lower Vegas shot, the farther south you get, it's shallower basin, and, it holds definitely a lot warmer water. Right now, there's probably a 5 to 8 degree swing in temperature right now today. From, University Bay to Marinette.
Does that play into effect of, where you might go try to fish for that day?
Yeah, absolutely. In the spring, it's kind of like the walleye run. You start on the Fox and you end on the Menominee.
Okay.
Plain water temperatures to my advantage.
Okay. So that's cool. So you just kind of follow the rivers on up if, you want to focus on the post spot.
Yeah, you can just, exactly.
Okay. Now, so pretty much, the Menominee River is the last river in Wisconsin. Do you fish much in the UP for muskies?
Do I fish where?
In Michigan at all? Like that coast?
I do not, no.
Okay.
No.
Right.
No, I don't guide at all in Michigan waters. I have gone and fished walleyes up there, but
okay.
I just strictly guide on the Wisconsin waters. So.
Okay. Now, with, like you were saying, the Menominee River being closer proximity to the deeper water, what's the deepest you ever caught a muskie out in the bay?
35 feet.
Okay. And were you trolling or casting?
We're actually trolling for walleyes. I caught that one.
Oh, really?
The majority of my fish are all on 15 feet and less. I mean, 98% of the fish that I catch.
Wow. Okay. So there's really no point into chasing those pelagic muskies that are chasing the whitefish in open water and stuff. It's kind of hard to do that.
Yeah, it's kind of a needle in a haystack. I mean, I don't waste my time doing it, but I mean,
they're out
there's
there.
a lot of water out there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're definitely out there, but you got no structure holding them, and they're just open water roaming, and so that's pretty much a needle in a haystack. But
so stick to where your odds are in favor, a little more down south,
yeah, that's what I'd recommend doing. That's what I do.
Okay. Now this is just a personal question, actually, since I am able to talk to you. The upper Menominee, past the Haiti Street Dam in Marinette.
Yep.
Have you heard of? I know they're in there, but are they actually prevalent in the upper Menominee at all?
Well, when I was younger, when I was a kid, I grew up fishing in Menominee. So I fished that river, the upper portion of it, all my life, and I've caught a few muskies up there. We didn't target them a lot back then, but they're definitely up there. I'd say the numbers, there's not big numbers of them in there. But there are some fish up there.
Okay, because my buddy that we go up north, he's got a cabin, Pembine, so we go smallmouth fish on the Menominee River, and
Yeah.
we never exactly targeted muskies. We usually go to like Cauldron or High Falls. And I was just even wondering if it's possibly even worth our time, like up in that area.
Yeah, I can tell you one good spot that I spent like 15 years of my life fishing was right on Brule backwater. So you got the Brule River and the Paint River that come together. That's actually the start of the Menominee River.
Yep.
And on that backwater is excellent muskie fishing. I've caught thousands of muskies up there.
Okay.
But not a lot of big fish. A lot of like 30 to 45-inch fish. So
a lot of numbers.
Very rare to see anything. Yeah, a lot of numbers.
Okay.
But not a lot of big fish up that way.
That's cool. So kind of the last question is, what's your favorite fish to catch on a bay? A muskie or a big old smallmouth or a big old walleye?
My favorite's muskie by far,
Yeah.
but I mean, I like catching everything, but muskie is definitely my favorite.
That's cool. No, the tug is the drug, Bret.
I had a bass fish today. It was hard to go bass fishing and not muskie fishing, but
Yeah.
it wasn't my choice.
Oh boy. So final question before I let you go, Bret. I got to hear a funny boat launch story.
Funny boat launch story? Yeah, I got a lot of them.
Oh boy.
Probably the funniest boat launch story is I was going out for muskies in the fall. It was like September time frame. And there was a guy and his wife, and he was backing up his like 35-foot scarab boat, and she's on the dock just signaling him to come back. And he thought his boat slid in, and she's like waving him to keep coming back. Didn't pay attention to her, and he went to pull out, and he slapped down his big, $300,000 scarab boat right on the concrete launch. And then he gets out and he starts yelling at his wife at a boat.
Oh boy.
That's my 2 cents in there, saying that she told you to keep coming. You didn't listen to her.
Oh my God.
He didn't like that. So that was a good one.
That $300,000. Jesus Christ. Just a house dragging across the concrete. Oh man.
Oh yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Bret. Thank you for all the information and everything, and good luck with the season.
No problem.
And,
thank you for having me.
Keep the pictures coming, guys. AlexanderSportsFishing.com. Go check them out if you need a guide for Green Bay. Why choose anyone but the best? So, thanks, Bret, and I'll keep in touch and talk to you later.
Sounds great. Good luck fishing.
Thanks. Bye. Ooh, we got some info. That's cool. I don't know what else to say to that. That was just cool. So, check out the bay. Stick to the weeds. It's still not over in Green Bay. Yeah, Paul, that's what I'm saying, dude. These stories seem to have a theme, husband and wives. I don't know. So yeah, Brad Alexander, everyone. That was cool. So, Mike Keys is up next. Let's talk to him about some Keys Outdoors. See what he's up to. Will he answer? Dun, dun, dun.
Hello.
Hey, Mike, it's Colin from Musky Talk Mondays.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, not too bad. You're live now, just to let you know. Fair warning.
Okay.
So, just got off the phone with Bret, gave us some cool information about Green Bay that I've always wanted to know, but I've never fished, and I need to fish. So, I saw you guys' show.
Oh, up in Green Bay?
Yeah, I saw your guys' pictures and everything, and kind of jealous.
Yeah, we had fun. It's actually been pretty good up there.
Good.
Yeah, so there's always a bite being had somewhere up there.
That's what I kind of found out, and I should not shy away from going up there with my little 16-foot boat. I just need to pay attention to the wind.
Yeah, that's all it is, really. That's the thing is there's always a place up there to get out of the wind, and just be smart about it and pick your days and go up there. And I know several guys that do very well up there out of small boats.
Okay.
And they've caught some giant fish.
Cool. Well, that gives me hope. Definitely.
Yeah, right.
So, Keys Outdoors. First off, thanks for coming on. First of all, how do you get into the musky world? Not just musky fishing, but into the public eye of the musky world.
Well, it's a long story. I started out in the hunting industry, to be quite frank with you. I designed a bunch of products that I sold nationally to the hunting industry. Mm-hmm. And so I was always into the outdoors, and because of the products that I invented, I picked up a camera because I thought, what a better, advertising format than to show people the products that I invented in the application of how they worked in the realm of hunting.
Okay. And
started, getting a lot of really cool kills and stuff on film, and really just used it as a video for trade shows because back then, there was no YouTube and there was no internet. Right. So, but that's how I got into it. And then what happened was a gentleman that I know came to me and wanted to use a bunch of my video on a promo for a pilot for Fox for an outdoor show, and I let them use it, and they accepted the show. And then what happened was I went and actually filmed with him. This is a true story. I filmed with him, mm-hmm. and he said if I came up and filmed his hunt, he would film my hunt, and we ended up, it was cool. I ended up getting 450-pound cinnamon of his on film.
Wow. And
when it was time for my hunt, he didn't have the money for my hunt. Wow. And so, made a long story short, he didn't live up to his end of the deal, and I kept the footage, and he asked me what I was going to do with it, and just jokingly, I said to him, I don't know, maybe I'll start my own TV show.
Ah, boy.
And here we are 18 years later.
Here we are. You got the last laugh in that one, man.
Well, yeah, and it wasn't, it just, I totally got it at the time that, if you didn't have the money for the hunt and startup company that, get me on the rebound, that would be cool. Mm-hmm. And, but I think what got my goat is when we got back to Wisconsin, he laid down $1,800 of my hunt money for a full bear mount for his office.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, and I was just like, dude, I was like, man, I would think that it would have behooved you and better served you to have 2 kills on film than a statue bear in your office.
Right. To each their own, I guess.
He should have never, right, and he should have never doubted me when he said, you don't have what it takes to start a TV show, and, well, here we are. So
that's cool.
18 years, and it is. It was cool, but I never thought that we would grow into what we've grown into, and it's been a long road. It's not an easy lifestyle. There's a lot of travel and constant sponsorship money and stuff, and it's more of a business than what people realize.
I believe it. I 100% believe it. So we got a couple questions from Seth Engel. What did Mike think of Miltona when he fished the PMT? So what do you think about that lake?
I think it's an awesome body of water. I've fished Miltona for many years because of my relationship and sponsorship with Musky Mayhem, because they're right there. That's where mm-hmm. Mayhem is built. And so we have fished it for many years, and it's a great, great body of water with some really big fish in it, and it's got a ton of really cool structure on it.
Really?
So you can go shallow on those fish. You can go super deep.
Okay.
Open water bite is very good there. It's just a very versatile body of water.
Huh. I've never fished it, so I'll take your word, Mike.
Okay.
And then we got Adam Swiklinski from TNA Tackle says, "Hey Mike, I work with a guy named Jeff Linder. You recorded his fishing show. He said you're nothing but top notch." So that's not really a question.
Well, I appreciate that.
That's a comment.
Well, yeah,
So
that's nice to know. Thank him.
Thanks, Adam. I think I actually just called him Todd. Whatever. One of the Swiklinski's brothers. So, you fished... What's the most west you fished for muskies?
The Dakotas.
Yeah? And how did that turn out?
Yeah. Good. There's good body of water out there, which are true musky water. You know, you get more west than that, then it's the hybrid.
Yep.
Which I would love to do. I mean, right now there's some people out in Utah and New Mexico that are slaying some really big hybrids, and I would like to do that. But the furthest that I went was South Dakota and North Dakota.
Okay, and it was worth your while.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's not a ton of bodies of water out there. You got to do your homework.
Mm-hmm.
And, anybody can do it, and that's the thing that a lot of people don't see is the countless hours I spend researching DNR records,
yep.
Club records. Last year we were pioneering some stuff out east on the Great Lakes in Lake Huron. And for me to take that trip, it was 4 years of research.
I watched that show, and I was going to ask you about that show, and I didn't have to ask you about that show. But no,
it just goes to show, it goes to show you that, as far as records go, their DNR doesn't have the funding like we do here to give you that data.
Mm-hmm.
But what I did and how the whole thing started was a buddy of mine, and networking is so important in our industry.
Oh, my God, yeah.
And, yeah, I mean, walleye guys, bass guys, musky guys, and that's how it started, is a guy that I know who fishes the pro walleye tournament had a tournament over there and asked me if I ever musky fished out there, and I said no, and I said, why? And he says, because we were constantly getting bit off. And I said, well, are you sure that it wasn't pike? Well, then he pulled up a picture of a 47-incher.
Oh, wow.
And, yeah, that was 4 years ago, and then it just constantly stayed in the back of my mind. And then finally last year, Dave Brown called me up on Mondays and goes, okay, boss, what are we up to? Where are we going? What are we doing? And I said, pack your bags, plan on being gone for 7 days. I said, we're going out to Lake Huron.
Oh, boy.
And he said, what? He says, what? And I said, Lake Huron. And he says, oh, you're going to be chasing this wild dream that you've had.
Oh, boy.
And I said, yeah, guess what? You're coming with.
Oh, yeah.
And so we went out there, and that first shoot, we only stayed 3 days because we had some severe weather
Mm-hmm.
that actually came through central Wisconsin. And I was out there, and my wife called and said, we've got a lot of damage on the property. You've got to get home.
Yeah.
So we had to call it short. But, catching that 52-inch fish out there was definitely,
that was worth it.
That was worth it for us to say, this is a new destination, and that's what we're doing. And, it's things like that. And I think that's what separates Keys Outdoors from a lot of other shows that are out there is, we're willing to take that chance and go out there and, you're either a hero or a zero real quick, but you don't know if you don't go.
It shows in your video the struggle, and that video sticks out in my mind the most, that video that we're just talking about. So with that being said, now you don't have to tell me any secrets, but do you have any other destinations that you caught wind of stuff that you'd like to go take a look at?
Yeah, absolutely, and I make it a point of doing that. And when I sit there and tell people that I'm fishing Green Bay, they all envision in their mind the city of Green Bay.
Yeah.
And when I say Green Bay, I'm talking everything from Green Bay all the way up to Beta Knock.
And
on both sides.
I was just talking to Bret about that. Have you ever fished Beta Knock for muskies?
I haven't yet. Yeah. I'm probably going to within the next month or so.
Cool.
Again, I'm going to get up there, and there's a lot of stuff south of there that is just totally unexplored. And that's the thing, is I understand where the guides are coming from. They don't have that resource, or if you will. They want instant gratification, or I should say their clients do, which is totally understandable when you're paying anywhere from $300 to $600 a day.
Yeah.
You don't want to go, hey, guess what, guys? Give me your money. Today we're going pioneering.
Right? Like
Yeah.
My girlfriend shakes my head when I say that.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, all right, sorry, honey.
But, so I'm able to do that. And, I still have to produce, but, I do have that flexibility of this is my job. This isn't a part-time gig for me. This is what I get paid to do.
Yes.
And so if I go up there for a week and I get skunked, at least I can take it off of my list of places that I want to go and try.
And you when you get there, you fish as hard as you can. You don't. One, you need a show.
Yeah.
Two, if you want to really actually find out what's going on in this system, and so if you don't get anything, just cross it off and let's go to the next one.
Right, exactly. And even then, I have learned from experience that I don't go to a place, fish it for a day or two, and then write it off my list.
No.
Because there's so many elements that are involved. It's time of year. Maybe the fish just aren't there at that particular time of the year.
Cold front, wind direction, all that, the weed grows a little,
right.
It's like an inch shorter than normal, so, they're 100 feet down and 300 feet of water type stuff,
Right, exactly. It's a whole litany of things that you have to go back, and what I'll typically do is I'll fish an area or a body of water 3 times in different times of the year to totally eliminate it off my list.
That's interesting. I never thought about that, because I do, decent amount of exploring. I mean, my kind of venture for a day trip is, Green Bay to a little bit past Madison to Illinois, and there's a few lakes where I'm like, I'm never going to hit this again. We spent, 14 hours out here and haven't moved a fish, but then looking back, it's like, oh, it's bluebird skies, 80 degrees out, and absolutely no wind.
Exactly. There's so many variables that go into it that, you can't, it would be, I have to know without a certainty, because if I go there and spend 3 days and don't see any fish, but I see the habitat, I see the bait, I get that feeling that they're here, then I owe it, because if I just walked away from it, it would burn a hole in my brain on the backside going, you gave up too easy on that.
Too easy. Oh, boy. So we got Jesse Carpenter asking, he can't wait for Eagle River chain coming soon. Any tips on the chain?
Tell him he needs to give me tips, because that's one lake that I struggle with. It is the craziest thing. It's probably got more muskies in it than any body of water in the state of Wisconsin, and Dave and I struggle so bad on that body of water, and I don't know what it is, but tell him that maybe he could send some tips my way.
All right, guys, so go to keysoutdoors.com, go to their Facebook page, email Mike all your tips, and then
there you go.
Yeah, he'll give you like a thumbs up in like a picture with his fish.
Yeah, right.
There you go. We'll see if we can get you some tips, Mike. But
Okay.
So what do you primarily do in the off season? I mean, I ran into you at the expo, and I know you go around doing that. But anything else? Is that kind of just family time or preparation time?
I wish it was. This job is, because we air on so many markets. We air on the Pursuit Channel, Amazon Prime, our YouTube stuff, and then Fox Sports North. From probably deer season until probably April, I'm working 7 days a week putting shows together.
Wow.
It takes me on the average of about 40 hours per episode to edit and produce it.
Oh, I totally believe it, and that's why I like this live stuff. It's way easier to edit because there's no editing.
Yeah. Yeah, right, exactly.
So,
so that's what I'm doing, and it's a little bit of family time, but we're a small company, and that's one thing that I think if I had any advice for anybody trying to do what I've done is, the only way that you can make it is in this industry is to make a living, I should say, a comfortable living, is you have to be able to do it all. When you start jobbing cameramen out, editing people, post stuff, it gets very, very expensive.
oh, I bet.
And that's why we've been so successful, because we do everything in-house. And when I say we, my middle daughter, Amy, is now producing, because we produce 2 other TV shows besides ours.
Do you mind?
And so
names?
What's
do
that?
You mind telling?
Yeah, it would be Trophy Fish Hunter, that airs right after us. And then Bass Doctor, we shoot episodes for them as well.
Okay.
And then, so we film it. Dave goes out on site. He does the filming, and then he brings all the footage back, and then my daughter actually produces that.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool. So
it is cool.
So
it is
an actual
super cool.
production company. It's not just Keys Outdoors.
Exactly. And we do commercial work for people. We're always, we do other work as well. And now we're that same company that we're producing the Trophy Fish Hunter and Bass Doctor episodes with is now starting a 3rd TV show on freshwater, and it looks like we're going to get that contract as well.
Cool. Congrats, Mike.
Yeah, thank you.
So, since you fished, a lot of the, quote, native musky states and waters, if you could give me a couple of your top places that you, not even for size or numbers, just like the whole experience of fishing, what would be a couple destinations?
I would say that probably my favorite thing to do, regardless of size of fish, is small river fishing.
Okay.
I'm the happiest guy in the world when I'm sitting in a canoe floating down a wilderness area where there's nobody, and I have the whole body of water to myself. To me, that's the experience. And then, sleeping in the dirt, basically, just when you put your 8 hours in, I sleep. People think I'm crazy because there's times where I just sleep on my boat. And that, to me, that's just who I am. I feel more comfortable sleeping on the deck of a boat, anchored down with my talons in a small bay on a small river than I do sitting in the, Ramada Inn with my feet up. I would rather be drinking cowboy coffee and doing that than anything.
Huh.
Small rivers, very untapped. And the cool thing about small rivers is you don't need a $50,000 boat.
No.
A John boat, a canoe, a kayak, waders,
yep.
And you can get the job done.
I got one river down here that we fish, and it's a little addicting. So we're going to be transferring that up north to the Peshtigo in a couple weeks, which I'm
nice.
I'm looking forward to that trip so much.
Are you going to be targeting muskies?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, we'll be starting in Cauldron Falls, and then giving that a day, and then Quiet Adam. Everyone knows about the Peshtigo, and if you don't, well, now you know. I'm sorry.
Right.
But
Yeah, all the tributaries that feed into the Great Lakes, every single one of them
they all have muskies.
has muskies in them.
Yeah, you just got to find them. It's still musky fishing, guys. It's not like, you still got to go out there and put in some work.
Exactly, and that's the thing is that there's no. I get a kick out of it when people take a picture of a fish they caught and they black out the background.
Yeah.
It's like, to me, I just chuckle to myself because it's like, you still got to put the work in to make them bite.
You do.
And I don't have a problem. I fish tournaments, and I've seen so many times in my career on 10 boats going through an area, and the 11th boat hooks up.
Oh, I was watching your Throwback Thursday when you were traveling down that river, one of the older ones, and I think you were in the second boat, and you actually hooked into that freaking giant. I think it was,
Yeah.
And there you go. That was the second boat, theory right there, just busted.
Right, and it just I presented the right lure at the right time on the right angle of that fish, and and I'm going to be honest with people. A lot of people, luck has a lot to do with this, and if guys aren't having success, I tell them, I just say, listen, man, I fish with some of the best musky fishermen in the world, and it isn't where every time they go out they catch fish. You got to work at it. You got to stay persistent, and more importantly, and you hear it, and it's kind of like a cliche, but it's so true, is you have to will yourself to catch fish.
Yeah.
And that's exactly, you got to tell yourself, this is it. I'm going to catch it. And you got to believe. And that positive attitude, that's the thing that gets you through the 12,000 casts that you had.
Which is a killer. Those long skunk streaks. I mean,
It is.
For us, weekend warriors, sometimes you can't fish every day, sometimes you can't fish every weekend. So, now it's like, I get to fish in 2 weeks, and that just prolongs the skunk, and it gets irritating.
It does. And we all go through it. I mean, even guys that are out on the water every single day, we all go through it. And it's funny how you can be down. That's what's so amazing and humbling about this sport is you can be as low can get, and that next cast, you are the happiest, luckiest guy in the world.
It could be it.
And, so it's definitely a sport of high and lows, and it's the guy who stays even keel throughout it is the guy that finds success.
I got to lift my musky spirits. I think I need.
Yeah, that's right. Positive thinking, man. Positive.
So Adam again commented, congrats on all the success of KLP. So now that Team Rhino Outdoors is a sponsor of your show and they now carry the Angry Dragon, how long until Keys Outdoors gets after it and unleashes the dragon? Sorry, I just have to ask.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way. I wish it did, but our contract with Team Rhino is the reason why we hooked up with Team Rhino is because the major sponsors of our lures, whether it be Musky Innovations, Musky Mayhem, Musky Buster, those companies all do business with Team Rhino.
Okay.
So basically what it was us joining together with them to promote their goods, but to go through Jeff Widman on Team Rhino.
Okay.
And, a lot of people are under the conception that we're with Team Rhino, we can throw all of their lures.
No.
And it doesn't work that way. It would be impossible for us to do that because they carry such a variety of lures.
Oh, my God, yeah. So Eric Larson commented, what's the worst place you fished for muskies? Now, I don't exactly know how he means this, like dirty or like a waste of time, maybe?
I don't know. I struggle a lot with Green Bay.
Okay.
I struggle with Green Bay on the mentality of some of the fishermen. This sport, it's a double-edged sword. And what I struggle with is our sport is growing. in leaps and bounds. It's unbelievable. Opening weekend, we were on the Fox, and we counted 100 musky boats.
Wow.
Opening weekend. Where fast forward, it's funny because we were talking a little while ago about, Throwback Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
I was just dubbing some old footage from all the way back in 2003 when I was filming over there.
How many boats did you see out there at that time?
Three.
In 2003?
Three, yeah.
Wow.
The number 3. So it's a double-edged sword. I know that people get upset when I go on, quote, their lake in their area and film. But what they've got to understand is that this is a business, and the more popular our sport becomes, the more dollars it generates, the more the DNR opens their ears to stock new bodies of water, up their stocking programs, things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
And so, how can I put it? We don't want to share our stuff, but yet it's healthy for us to do so because the more people that come in, the healthier our sport is.
Just teaching people of, basic handling mechanics of a muskie. I mean, that's
right.
Saving the population right there. Okay. Hey, there's this new lake, whole bunch of muskies in it. Oh, you're sharing my spot. Well, hey, guess what? Now your DNR and the community around it is taking notice and stocking way more muskies in it and maybe bringing in business, new bait stores, and there you go. That's how it grows.
It is, and there's so many people that I deal with on a business level that depends on that growth, whether it be our boat contract with our Skeeter boats for selling musky boats, whether it's Team Rhino selling gear. It's all predicated on the growth of our sport, and I get it. I get the other side too. I really do, because guys are like, man, I had this all to myself. You know what I mean?
Well, no.
Well,
it's time to find a new glory hole.
Right.
It happens.
Oh, right. To me, I thrive on that because that forces me out of my comfort zone to go look for new stuff.
Yeah.
And then you've got a place. I've got probably 15 places right now on the Bay of Green Bay that I know no one's ever fished.
That's awesome.
No one.
And who knows? You might catch your new personal best on one of those places. It could be green.
I seen a fish last year that I would have to say that it was probably my second biggest fish, and it was right up there with the Louis Spray record. In quote, not that he has it, but that replica.
Quote.
It was a human being swimming in the water.
Well, let's talk about that for a minute. I know I said I got you on for an hour, so we got half an hour, so we got a couple minutes left. Really quick view on the new world record. Where do you think it'd come out of?
Oh, boy. I'm going to have to say Green Bay is right there.
Now, do you say that because you may have just saw the new world record, or do you say that based on, information and facts and figures?
I just, a couple years ago, the buzz in the industry was St. Clair. Mm-hmm. And St. Clair is a great fishery.
Oh, yeah.
But if you notice now, the buzz is kind of wore off of St. Clair. They're not catching the monster fish that they were. They're catching big fish out there. Mm-hmm. But truly, name me a place besides maybe the St. Lawrence Seaway that is actually producing 57, 58-inch fish.
Not
too
many. Georgian Bay, maybe?
Not too many. The problem with Georgian Bay is it's never been stocked. It's all natural reproduction, and it's massive. It's huge. Could a world record be there? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I would say that the world record is going to come out of the Great Lakes.
Oh, for sure. It has to.
And yeah, it's a whole different genetic of fish. The spotted muskie is just a whole different genetic fish. And when people sit there and say a world record is going to come out of Petenwell or Castle Rock, it's scientifically not going to happen. It's not that species of fish. It's not that strain of fish.
I've never caught spotted before. This is year number 2 or 3 for me in the muskie world, so I'm still pretty new in this game.
Okay, well, and that's what it is it's just a whole genetic fish. It grows faster, bigger, and it's like anything. If you take a goldfish and you put it into a goldfish bowl, it stays a goldfish.
Mm-hmm.
You take that same goldfish and you throw it into a lake, it becomes a monster carp.
That is true.
And it is true. It is what it is. And it's just the feed, you need certain things. Number one, it's in... This is why I've drawn into the muskie hunting, because it's so similar to whitetail big buck hunting.
Uh-huh.
If you want to kill big whitetail deer, you got to go to where big whitetail deer live.
Yep.
If you want to catch big muskies, you got to go to where they live, and genetically, it's the Great Lakes.
Okay.
And it's that strain and the feed. You need that oily based diet for them to put the weight on.
Okay. Huh. And that's Great Lakes strain written all over it, right there.
Great Lakes. I mean, you've got the shad there. You've got, you name it. As far as feed goes, you've got perch. But as far as the oily, you've got the suckers. You've got the shad there. You've got two types of shad in the system.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got the genetics, and you've got the oil. You've got the Cisco's. You've got the natural oily fatty food that need to grow a big fat fish.
Huh. Well, hopefully it comes out, one of these years. That'd be a big...
Somebody's going to get it.
Yeah.
So that's for sure.
Whatever lure that was caught on. Ooh. Well, that company's going to get it.
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
Well, before I let you go, Mike, last question. Funniest boat launch story.
Funniest boat launch story?
Yeah.
A funniest story was when I first started, and I was not 100% into the muskie,
mm-hmm.
and we did multi-species. I was at my home lake here, Petenwald,
yep.
before they put the new launch in, and we were spring walleye fishing, so the current was running super heavy.
Yeah.
And it was, before the new boat landing went in, it was one heck of a task to load your boat in that current.
Mm-hmm.
And an old-timer in town here got a brand-new boat, and he was kind of one of those guys that everybody not picked on, but razzed a lot. And so we were all waiting in line, and Wally was his name, and he's gone now, but Wally was having a hard time loading his boat, and there was only one ramp, and he kept missing the trailer. And so finally he got set up with everybody razzing him, so he gave her, and he shot right up his trailer, broke his hitch off, and the boat landed in the back of his brand-new truck.
No, oh my God.
Yes. He turned around, put his hands up, and yelled at everybody and waiting in line, "Are you all happy now?"
Oh, that is not good. That is
not good.
Jesus
not good.
Christ.
And the guys that were razzing them all had their heads down, and nobody was saying they felt terrible after that. But that was probably one of the funniest things I've seen.
Oh, boy. I hope all these stories I hear, because I ask that everyone who comes on, I hope I've never experienced any of these personally. No.
Right.
Horrible.
Me too.
Horrible.
Right.
Well, Mike, thanks for coming on. Guys, it's Mike Keys. Go check out Keys Outdoors, keysoutdoors.com on YouTube, and I guess he produces other shows. Go check those shows out as well, and hopefully we'll see some cool, unknown spots on this upcoming season, Mike.
Sounds good. I appreciate it, and thanks to everybody out there, and yeah, we're gonna get on it pretty hard here.
Cool. Well, good luck to you this season, Mike.
All right, thank you.
Have a good one. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right. Aha, there we go. Mike Keys. So, he struggles on the Eagle River chain. So send him some tips, you guys. That'd be cool. That'd be cool if we help Mike Keys win that tournament. I think that would earn a shout out. Possibly. Maybe. So, I believe it's June 5th. I believe this is the last Musky Talk Mondays for This month, I'm going to be taking a little bit of a break. I want to try to work on some other stuff and organize the show a little bit more. So I'll be back in July. Now, I don't know when July 4th is. Let's take a look right quick. July 4th is a Tuesday. Alright, so maybe we won't be back the first Monday in July. Maybe the second Monday. I will keep you guys posted. Yes, Jesse, I'm sorry, but I want to get... I want to stop doing last-minute guests. Now, what I mean by that, I'd like to actually get a schedule out there with, a couple months in advance, maybe, of guests and stuff like that. That'd be really cool. Try to make it a little bit more stream-like for myself. So, I'll keep everyone updated on that. It'll keep rolling. I'm just trying to make it better. So, that's about it. Still going on in Green Bay. Just a little recap. So, don't hesitate to go head up there. So, that's cool. I might have to do that, actually. Perfect. I might have to take you up on that, Eric. So while I'm gone, if you guys want to send me some emails or, some PMs about guests that you would love to have on, obviously there's pretty much every guest I want to have on a couple times throughout the year. That'd be really cool. But any new suggestions, I'm kind of drawing blanks and stuff like that, really. Help me out. Make this your show, too. So, thanks again, everyone, for watching, and I'll see you in a couple weeks. Adios.